Welcome back to Top Liberty Coin. Simple $quarter coin in your hand and thinking it is just another piece of everyday change, something you might spend without a second thought. Now imagine that same coin quietly carrying history, mystery, and in rare cases, a value far beyond its face. This is where the story of the 1967 quarter begins, a coin that at first glance looks ordinary, but underneath its surface hides a fascinating journey through time, economics, and the world of collectors who are always searching for hidden treasure. The 1967 quarter was born in a unique era. During the mid-1960s, the United States faced a major coin shortage. People were hoarding silver coins because their metal value was rising. As a result, the government made a dramatic decision. Starting in 1965, quarters were no longer made of silver. Instead, they were produced using a copper and nickel-clad composition. This change marked the end of an era and the beginning of modern coinage. The 1967 quarter is part of this transitional period, which makes it historically important even if it does not contain silver. When you look closely at a 1967 quarter, you will notice something unusual compared to older coins. There is no mint mark. This was done intentionally to discourage collectors from hoarding coins during the shortage. All 1967 quarters were produced without mint marks, regardless of where they were made. This small detail adds to the mystery and uniqueness of the coin. Now let's talk about value, because that is what excites most people. In everyday condition, a 1967 quarter is usually worth only its face value, 25 cents. But the real story begins when condition, rarity, and errors come into play. Coins that are in extremely high grade, meaning they have little to no wear and maintain their original shine, can be worth significantly more. Collectors pay close attention to grading, and even a small difference in quality can increase the value dramatically. Then there are error coins. These are the true hidden gems. Some 1967 quarters were struck with mistakes during the minting process. These errors can include double dies, off-center strikes, or unusual metal compositions. When such rare errors are discovered, their value can jump from a few dollars to hundreds, even thousands. In extremely rare and exceptional cases, coins with unique characteristics have reached astonishing figures in the collector market. Stories circulate in the coin collecting world about rare quarters being sold for incredible amounts, sometimes reaching values that seem unbelievable. While not every 1967 quarter will be worth a fortune, the possibility of discovering something rare is what keeps collectors searching through rolls of coins and old collections. That excitement, that hope of finding a hidden treasure, is what makes coin collecting so addictive and thrilling. The design of the quarter itself is another important part of its story. On the front, you see the familiar portrait of George Washington, a symbol of leadership and history. The word liberty appears boldly, representing freedom and the values of a nation. On the back, the eagle spreads its wings, a powerful image that has been part of American coinage for decades. Even without silver content, the artistic and symbolic value of the coin remains strong. Over time, the 1967 quarter has gained attention not just for its history but for its place in the broader coin market. As more people become interested in collecting, demand for certain coins increases. This demand can push prices higher, especially for coins in excellent condition or with rare features. The market is always changing, and values can rise as collectors compete to add special pieces to their collections. If you ever come across a 1967 quarter, do not ignore it. Take a closer look. Check its condition. Look for any unusual features. You might be holding something more valuable than you think. Even if it turns out to be a common coin, you are still holding a piece of history, a reminder of a time when the world of currency was changing. Coin collecting is not just about money. It is about stories, history, and discovery. Every coin has a journey, passing through countless hands, witnessing moments in time that we can only imagine. The 1967 quarter is a perfect example of this. It may seem ordinary, but it carries with it the legacy of an important period in monetary history. As you continue exploring the world of coins, remember that value is not always obvious. Sometimes the most valuable treasures are hidden in plain sight. Keep looking, keep learning, and who knows, the next coin you find might be worth far more than you ever expected. Today we are diving deep into a coin that many people have seen, touched, and even spent without a second thought, yet it holds stories, value, and surprising potential. We are talking about the 1974 $quarter coin, a piece of American history that still circulates today and might even be sitting quietly in your wallet right now. Imagine holding a coin that was minted nearly 50 years ago. A coin that has passed through thousands of hands, witnessed decades of change, and still continues to exist in today's modern economy. The 1974 quarter is not just currency, it is a time capsule. It carries with it the legacy of design, craftsmanship, and economic history that stretches back generations. Let's start by understanding what this coin actually is. The 1974 quarter belongs to the Washington Quarter series, first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington, the first President of the United States. By 1974, this design had already become iconic. On the front, you see the strong profile of George Washington facing left, with the word Liberty above his head, the motto "In God We Trust" to the side, and the date 1974 below. On the back, the majestic eagle stands with wings spread, clutching arrows and olive branches, symbolizing both strength and peace. At first glance, it may seem like just another coin. But here is where things start to get interesting. Not all 1974 quarters are the same. Some were minted in Philadelphia, which means they carry no mint mark. Others were minted in Denver and have a small D mark. And then there are those from San Francisco, usually proof coins made with extra detail and shine, often marked with an S. Now let's talk about value, because that is what excites collectors and treasure hunters the most. A regular 1974 quarter in circulated condition is usually worth its face value, just 25 cents. But do not lose interest yet, because certain factors can increase that value dramatically. Condition is everything. A coin that has been preserved in near perfect condition, what collectors call mint state, can be worth significantly more. A high-grade 1974 quarter with sharp details, no scratches, and original luster can fetch several dollars, sometimes even higher depending on grading, but the real excitement comes from rare variations and errors. These are the coins that can turn a simple quarter into a collector's dream. For example, some 1974 quarters were struck with minting errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, or unusual metal compositions. These errors are rare, and rarity drives value. There are reports of certain error coins reaching hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. While the number you mentioned, a value like $787,976.46, would be extremely rare and likely tied to a unique or historic piece, it shows how powerful the coin market can be when rarity, condition, and demand come together. Another important aspect is silver content. By 1974, most quarters were no longer made of silver. The United States had already transitioned to a copper-nickel clad composition in 1965. So if you ever find a 1974 quarter that appears to have a silver color on the edge with no copper stripe, it could be a very rare minting error, and that alone could make it extremely valuable. Collectors also pay attention to proof coins. A 1974 proof quarter from San Francisco, especially one with deep cameo contrast where the design appears frosted against a mirror-like background, can be worth much more than a regular coin. Some of these have sold for impressive amounts depending on their quality. Now let's explore the historical context. The year 1974 was a time of change in the United States. The country was dealing with economic challenges, inflation, and political shifts. Coins from this era reflect a transitional period, making them even more interesting to collectors who value history as much as rarity. Think about it. This quarter might have been used to buy groceries in the 1970s, pay for a bus ride, or even sit in a cash register during a historic moment. Every scratch and mark tells a story, and that story adds emotional and historical value beyond just the metal. If you are wondering how to check your own coins, here are a few simple tips. First, look at the mint mark. Check if it is from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Next, examine the condition. The fewer marks and scratches, the better. Then, look closely for errors. Use a magnifying glass if you can. Even small details can make a big difference. Also, consider getting your coin professionally graded. Certified coins often sell for higher prices because buyers trust the official evaluation. Companies that specialize in grading can assign a number that represents the coin's condition, and that number can significantly impact its market value. The coin market itself is constantly changing. Prices go up and down based on demand, rarity, and collector interest. A coin that is worth a few dollars today could be worth much more in the future if demand increases or if fewer examples are available. That is why many collectors hold on to their coins for years, even decades. They understand that patience can turn a small investment into something much bigger. And sometimes, the thrill is not just about the money, but about the hunt, the discovery, and the connection to history. So the next time you receive change, do not ignore it. Take a closer look. That ordinary-looking quarter might not be so ordinary after all. It could be a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. At Coins, we believe that every coin has a story, and every collector has the chance to uncover something amazing. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced collector, there is always something new to learn and explore. Keep searching, keep learning, and most importantly, keep your eyes open. Because treasure does not always come in gold bars or diamonds. Sometimes, it comes in the form of a simple 1974 quarter, quietly waiting to reveal its true worth. Today we are diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1982 Washington quarter, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors across the globe and continues to spark curiosity in today's coin market. The year 1982 was a turning point for United States coinage. During this period, the United States Mint made a significant decision that would later affect collectors in a big way. For the first time in many years, official mint sets were not produced. That means coins like the 1982 quarter, struck in Denver Mint, were released directly into circulation without the same level of preservation that collectors were used to. Because of this, finding a 1982 quarter in truly high-grade condition today is much more difficult than most people realize. These coins were used in everyday transactions, passed from hand to hand, scratched, worn, and often forgotten. But a small number survived in near-perfect condition, and those are the coins that can command incredible prices in today's market. The design of this coin is instantly recognizable. On the front, you will see the iconic portrait of George Washington, facing left with the word Liberty above his head. This design has been a symbol of American heritage for decades. On the reverse side, an eagle spreads its wings proudly, representing strength and freedom. It is a design that has stood the test of time and continues to be admired by collectors and historians alike. But what truly makes the 1982 quarter special is not just its design, it is its rarity in top condition. Most examples you will find today are heavily circulated and worth only face value. However, when you step into the world of uncirculated coins, everything changes. Coins graded at the highest levels by professional grading services can sell for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. There have been reports and listings in the market where exceptionally rare examples, especially those with unique characteristics or errors, have been associated with extremely high asking prices. Figures like $78,797,645 may appear in listings or discussions, often driven by speculation, collector hype, or misunderstanding. It is important to understand that while such numbers grab attention, actual verified sales are usually much lower, though still impressive for a coin originally worth just 25 cents. The real magic happens when collectors discover coins with errors. Minting errors can transform an ordinary coin into a treasure. Off-center strikes, double dies, or unusual planchet issues can dramatically increase value. For the 1982 quarter, even minor imperfections can become highly desirable if they are rare and visually striking. Another key factor is grading. Professional grading companies evaluate coins based on condition, assigning them a score that determines their quality. A coin graded at the very top of the scale becomes incredibly valuable because so few exist in that state. This is why collectors carefully examine every detail, from the sharpness of Washington's hair to the clarity of the eagle's feathers. The current coin market is more active than ever. Online platforms, auctions, and collector communities are constantly trading and discussing coins like the 1982 D-quarter. Prices can fluctuate depending on demand, rarity, and overall market trends. Some collectors are willing to pay premium prices for coins that complete their collections or stand out due to exceptional quality. If you are watching this and wondering whether you might have one of these valuable coins, the first step is simple. Check your pocket change. Look closely at any 1982 quarters and search for the small D mint mark on the coin. If you find one, examine its condition carefully. A coin with minimal wear, sharp details, and clean surfaces could be worth much more than you expect. It is also important to store coins properly. Many valuable coins lose their potential because they are not handled or preserved correctly. Using protective holders and avoiding direct contact can help maintain their condition and future value. The story of the 1982 D-quarter is a perfect example of how something ordinary can become extraordinary. It reminds us that history is not just found in museums but can also exist in the smallest objects we use every day. A single coin can carry decades of history, economic changes, and collector passion. Collectors around the world continue to search for these hidden gems, hoping to uncover that one coin that stands out from the rest. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced collector, the thrill of the hunt never fades. Each coin tells a story, and every discovery adds a new chapter. So next time you come across a quarter, take a moment before you spend it. Look closely, because you might be holding more than just loose change. You might be holding a piece of history, a rare collectible, or even a coin that could change your understanding of value forever. This is Coin Script, bringing you deeper into the hidden world of rare coins, market secrets, and the stories behind the money we use every day. Today we are diving deep into a coin that many people overlook, a coin that might already be sitting quietly in your pocket, your drawer, or an old collection passed down through generations. We are talking about the 1984 Washington quarter, a coin that looks ordinary at first glance but hides secrets that collectors are willing to pay serious money for. Imagine holding a simple quarter, something you would normally spend without a second thought. Now imagine that same quarter being worth hundreds, thousands, or even an astonishing amount like $787.97644 depending on its condition, rarity, and unique features. That is the power of coin collecting, where history, detail, and rarity come together to create value. The 1984 quarter was minted in Philadelphia, one of the most historic mint locations in the United States. The P mint mark, which stands for Philadelphia, is located on the obverse side of the coin, just to the right of George Washington's ponytail. This small letter might seem insignificant, but for collectors, it is one of the most important details when identifying and valuing a coin. Let's talk about the design. On the front, you see George Washington, the first president of the United States, facing left. Above his head, you will find the word Liberty boldly engraved, representing freedom and independence. Below his portrait is the year 1984, marking the time when this coin was produced. On the back, you will see an eagle with its wings spread wide, holding arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing strength and peace. Now here is where things start to get interesting. Not all 1984 quarters are valuable. In fact, most of them are only worth their face value of 25 cents. But certain versions of this coin can be worth much more, especially if they are in uncirculated condition or have specific errors. Condition plays a massive role in determining value. Coins are graded on a scale, and the higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. A coin that has never been used in circulation, meaning it has no scratches, no wear, and retains its original shine, can be worth significantly more than a worn-out one. Collectors call this mint state condition. Now let's talk about errors, because this is where the real money can be found. Some 1984 quarters were struck with mistakes during the minting process. These errors can include double dies, off-center strikes, or weak details. A double die error means that the design was stamped twice slightly misaligned, creating a doubling effect on the text or image. These coins are extremely desirable and can sell for high prices. Another important factor is the strike quality. Some coins were not struck properly, resulting in weak details, especially in Washington's hair or the eagle's feathers. While this might seem like a flaw, in some cases, unique striking errors can increase the coin's value. The mintage of the 1984 P quarter was quite high, with hundreds of millions produced. This is why most of them are common. However, finding one in perfect condition or with a rare error is much more difficult. That is what creates scarcity, and scarcity is what drives value in the coin collecting world. Collectors are always searching for coins that stand out. They look for sharp details, strong luster, and unique characteristics. A coin with original mint luster, meaning it still has that fresh, shiny look straight from the mint, can be very appealing. If you tilt the coin under light and see a smooth, glowing surface, that is a good sign. Now imagine you find a 1984 P quarter that looks brand new, with no scratches and strong details. You take it to a professional grading service, and it receives a high grade. Suddenly, that simple quarter could be worth dozens or even hundreds of dollars. And if it has a rare error, the value could climb even higher. There have been cases where collectors have paid surprising amounts for high-grade examples of modern coins. While not every 1984 P quarter will reach extreme values, the possibility is always there, and that is what makes coin collecting so exciting. History also plays a role in the appeal of this coin. The Washington quarter design has been in use since 1932, originally created to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Over the decades, the design has become one of the most recognizable in American coinage. Owning a piece of that history, even from 1984, connects you to a long tradition. You might be wondering how to check your own coins. Start by looking closely at the mint mark. Make sure it is AP. Then examine the coin under good lighting. Look for any unusual features, doubling, or errors. Check the condition carefully. If the coin looks almost perfect, it might be worth getting it professionally graded. Storage is also important. Keeping your coins in a safe, dry place can help preserve their condition. Using coin holders or albums can prevent scratches and damage. Remember, even a small scratch can reduce the value of a coin significantly. The market for coins is always changing. Prices can go up or down depending on demand, rarity, and collector interest. This is why it is important to stay informed and keep learning. The more you know, the better your chances of finding something valuable. What makes the 1984 P quarter so fascinating is that it is still out there. It is not locked away in a museum or hidden in a vault. It could be in circulation right now, waiting to be discovered. Every time you receive change, you have a chance to find something special. Think about that for a moment. Something so small, something so common, could turn into something valuable. That is the magic of coins. They are more than just money. They are pieces of history, art, and opportunity. So the next time you see a quarter, do not just spend it. Take a closer look. Check the date. Look for the mint mark. Examine the details. You never know what you might find. This is why collectors around the world are passionate about coins. It is not just about money. It is about discovery, history, and the thrill of finding something rare. Stay tuned to Coins, because we will continue to explore hidden treasures, rare finds, and valuable coins that could be sitting right in front of you. And remember, every coin has a story. You just have to look closely enough to see it. Today we're diving deep into a coin that most people have seen, many have spent, and almost no one truly understands. The 1988 P Washington Quarter. At first glance, it looks like just another ordinary coin sitting in your pocket or lying forgotten in a drawer. But what if I told you that some of these quarters could be worth far more than 25 cents, even reaching into surprising and eye-catching numbers depending on condition, rarity, and hidden details. Let's slow down and really look at this coin. The 1988 P quarter was minted in Philadelphia, which is why it carries that small P mint mark. This was part of the long-running Washington Quarter series, first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington. By 1988, these coins were being produced in massive numbers, meaning millions were circulating through everyday life. People used them for groceries, vending machines, bus fares, and never gave them a second thought. But here's where things get interesting. Not all coins are equal, even if they look identical. Small differences, tiny details, and minting variations can turn an ordinary coin into something collectors are willing to pay serious money for. And that's exactly what brings attention to the 1988 p quarter today. In average circulated condition, this coin is still worth just 25 cents. Nothing special. But when we move into uncirculated grades, the value starts to climb. Coins that were never used, never scratched, never worn down, can sell for several dollars, sometimes even more depending on grading. But that's just the beginning of the story. The real excitement comes from high-grade examples and rare errors. A perfectly preserved 1988 p quarter, graded at the very top levels like MS-67 or MS-68, can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars in auctions. These coins are extremely rare because keeping a coin in flawless condition for decades is incredibly difficult. Every tiny mark, every contact with another coin reduces its grade. Now imagine finding one of these in your own collection. It sounds unlikely, but it happens. People discover valuable coins in old jars, inherited collections, or even in pocket change. That's what makes coin collecting so thrilling. The treasure could already be in your hands, then there are mint errors. This is where values can explode. Errors like double strikes, off-center designs, or die cracks can make a coin unique. Collectors love uniqueness. A 1988 p quarter with a strong visible error could sell for far more than a standard one, sometimes reaching into high-value territory depending on how dramatic and rare the error is. Another factor that drives value is demand. Coin collectors are always searching for the best examples to complete their sets. The Washington Quarter series is one of the most widely collected in the world. That means even small differences in quality can create big differences in price. Now let's talk about the number that catches everyone's attention. You might have seen claims or listings suggesting values like hundreds of thousands or even numbers like $787,976.43. These figures are not typical market prices for a standard 1988 p quarter. However, they represent something important in the coin world. They reflect how rare, unique, or historically significant a coin can become under the right conditions. When a coin is one of a kind, perfectly preserved, or tied to a special minting error, collectors can drive the price to incredible heights through auctions. It's not just about metal. It's about story, rarity, and condition. The 1988 p quarter also represents a moment in time. The late 1980s were a period of transition in coin production. Technology was improving, minting processes were evolving, and collectors were becoming more aware of grading and preservation. Coins from this era sit right on the edge between old-school minting and modern precision. If you hold one today, you're holding a small piece of that history. So how do you know if your 1988 p quarter is valuable? Start by checking the condition. Look closely at the details. Is the image sharp? Are there scratches or wear? Does it still have its original shine? Next, look for anything unusual. Misprints, doubling, off-center designs, or anything that looks different from a normal coin. If you think you have something special, the next step is professional grading. Certified grading can dramatically increase a coin's value because it confirms authenticity and condition, and here's the most exciting part. Millions of these coins were made, but only a tiny fraction exist in top condition or with rare errors. That means the hunt is still alive. Every day, people unknowingly pass valuable coins through their hands. Before you spend your next quarter, take a second look. That simple habit could change everything. Coins are more than currency. They are hidden stories, frozen in metal, waiting to be discovered. And sometimes, just sometimes, they are worth far more than anyone ever imagined.